Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to touch on some more of my Turnip28 project, simply because I'm umming about whether to start a new historical, so I'm going to go visit a local wargaming group soon. I've just done a video recently on the snobs of my regiment, and I thought I'd show you what else I'm working on just to complete this off, and we'll do a little bit of sort of a bit of a how-to of how to put these together, or how I put mine together. So starting off with these three here, in the game you can have two different types of cavalry, one of which are the bastards. So I'm placing these guys as being the three bastards for my officer, who is Gregor von Schrute, the Slug Baron, which is this fat chap here. So these will be his three sons. So this will be the ultimate look that we're kind of going for my regiment. We're all going to have the burgundy coats and all the other grime on there. So what I've done is I've got some Perry miniatures horses and mounts, and I have just bastardized these up with a scalpel and then some green putty. As you can see, I've just kind of put some along there, taken off the tail and given it a bit of a spindly one, put some kind of Cthulhu-esque tentacles and face on him. And I've tried to do something a little bit different for each one. So this guy's got the old twisty face. And a fluffy tail. And this one is kind of got more of a very kind of squiddy, tentacly face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some, in the video today I'll be putting some stuff on this to kind of give it a bit more texture, have some roof growth on it, and ultimately we'll be going for a look like the officer, which looks a bit like this. So this is the kind of nasty finished look that I'm going for. God, that's horrible. So yeah, we'll be doing this with a bit of sand and some tufts, which I'll be showing you in this video today. So those are the guys I've put together for that. I have a unit of Old Guard, which are veteran grogs, and I've given them these kind of bearskin topped hats. And these are all Perry miniatures, bits and bobs mixed together. This is British infantry. I think I had some Russian infantry mixed in with this one. So this guy's got a nice apron on him. And this guy, because I had the pieces, is bringing an axe to the party, which I thought was pretty cool. Rifle slung over there, got his axe ready for chopping. And I actually had, so this was my first model for Turnip28, and I was alrightly pleased with it. It came up very glossy, and it was a bit, I don't know, it was a bit naff. I was trying out the Vallejo mud texture on the bottom there, and just seeing how things work together. So it went from this, and this is one of my most latest ones, to this. So I've been working on a lot and trying out different things, and I think the quality increase is just massive. But these guys were supposed to be my Chaff, which are skirmishers in the game, but this was British rifleman sprues, which I mixed in, which I wasn't too keen on, like the short rifled muskets, and just the way that the models looked. They weren't very, I don't know, they sort of blended in too much with the rest of the models. So what I did was I went onto the Perry's website, and I found they did a box of Afghan tribesmen with some really cool poses on it. So I went online and on eBay, and I found a sprue of Afghan tribesmen. I only needed 4 models, so you needed the whole box. And now I've got some of these. So look at these poses and these long rifles. Look at that. How wicked is that? That's going to look awesome, all turniped up. Look at this. How wicked is that? Like a squatting pose with a long rifle. And these are my little Longbeaks. So yeah, I thought I'd redo them, and how good is that? I think I'm giving him like a big sword or something. So these are going to be my Longbeak Skirmishers. And one of them has got a snub-nosed helmet. See if we can get the quality up a little bit on that. No. Yeah, I'm really happy with those. They look kind of cool as well. I mean, the best thing about this game is just the creativity you can get on them. So, yeah. So we'll be working on some of these today. But yeah, this is a model that I did for some of my linesmen. So if you are interested in this, I mean, what are we actually looking at here? Like, how would you go about doing this yourself? Well, I've 3D printed these helmet and bodies because I'm lucky enough to have a 3D printer. If you haven't got one or you're thinking about getting one, I recommend it. They go for a couple £100 or a couple of dollars, but the quality of them now compared to the one that I bought is just phenomenal. And you can 3D print little bits like this. You can get models of my mini factory to add to your armies. It's just a hell of a lot of fun. So if you don't have a 3D printer, these files I think are free. I think I found this one for free anyway, but you can get a 3D printer to make these for you, and there are quite a lot of them, so you can get probably a bag of these printed. It wouldn't be too much, and sent to your house, and then you can start mixing these together. So what you would do in this instance is you would get a box of perimeters, which these are designed to work with, and I'd highly recommend it because perimeters is gorgeous, and they come with a lot of different body parts that you can mold together. And you would cut the sprue's body off at the waist at about a 35-degree angle, 30-degree angle, and then you would just glue this body on top and then stick some arms on that you want to get this effect. And then ultimately you'd be putting these kits together and you'd end up with something like this to get that turnipy look. I've got the Go Faster stripe on his trousers there because I think it looks a little bit smarter. So that's what we're going for. If you don't have a 3D printer or you don't feel like buying these 3D heads and bodies, oh, by the way, I've seen on their Patreon they are working on actual 3D print models for Turnip28, which look amazing. But if you don't want to go down this route, what I'd recommend that you do is you go to the Perry's website and you buy a box of Napoleonics. So anyone that takes your fancy, really, depending on what look you're going for. And you can then buy a box of, I think it's Agincourt Knights is what they recommend for doing Turnip28. But any kind of medieval box set will do fine, because you can mix the bits together to make your units. And all you would do is you would simply replace the heads with the helmet heads from the Agincourt box, the 100 Years War box. Or you could actually start mixing in bits of armor and stuff around where you wanted to get that kind of medieval Napoleonic mishmash. And then once you've got that done, you'll have these models ready to go. You can base them up, and then you'll start to add these kind of iconic root growths onto the bodies themselves. So we'll be doing that today, and then a bit of the texturing with the sand and whatnot. I won't be doing the horses simply because I don't think these look messy enough at the moment. I've seen online some guys using some cloth and glue to make this kind of look like skin or some horrible kind of matte flappy textures off the horses, which I'm going to try. So I'll be finishing these guys off on a different day. But I thought we would, because I'm really excited to see these guys made up, we'd actually start working on the Chaff Skirmishers. And I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to start with some grass, I think, for these guys. And what you could do, I think I've actually started here already. Or have I just torn that up? You'll need to take a nice new blade on your scalpel, but I can't remember how long I placed this. We'll give it a try. And placing a whole tuft is absolutely bloody mental. So what you want to do is, what I've done is I've started scoring the back of these in a cross, just to get a quarter of the tuft. So nice and hard, straight line. There we are. Watching your fingers at all times. Put it on the side. And these are quite sticky, these little buggers, so I've had a little bit of trouble with these. Let me change that focus. I'm still waiting on a new camera to come through, so apologies if this does go out of focus now and then. What we do is gently peel that off. These are actually quite strong adhesives, but I find once you've painted and finished the model, these won't be coming off. And then you can simply just pick the area where you want your growth to be. Just like that, and get your handy little pincers. Just to help make sure that's in contact with the model. You can also use them to kind of push the bristles around a little bit. There we go, something like that. We'll put one on the other side. Maybe one coming out the belly, that might be quite cool. So we get another little bit. And if you've got big potato fingers like myself, this might be a little bit tricky. I'm trying to get that just in the little gap just behind there. And you can sort of see the corner, it's like fanning out to this way, so you can almost tell which kind of shoulder you want to put this on. Oh, lovely. Brilliant. Just squeeze that in there. It's all nice and tight. And push this out of his face a little bit to kind of... There we go. Wicked. That's cool. I might come back later and put a little tuft in there as well, because we will be filling up these horrible gaps with sand and modelling glue, which will also give the model a bit of texture. But we'll come back to that, but that's one done. So most of the soldiers will have root growths coming out of their bodies in one way or another. Often in the art style of the artist that made it is it will come out of their shoulders, but of course you can have this stuff growing out anywhere. Okay, awesome. Looks like a big fur fancy trim, doesn't it? I'm loving this kind of sash belt thing. He's wearing sandals. That's that's gonna suck in the mud. There you go. Alright, let's get another one done. But yeah, these are the that's the tufts, and that's all we need to do for the tufts for now. That's it, quick and easy. Like, how long's that been? 20 minutes of me waffling. You'll probably get that done in 10 if you're quick. And then what we're going to do is we are going to start adding some grime and texture to the miniatures before I prime and even think about painting them. Hello, welcome back, and yeah, let's get on with the next part of adding some texture to these boys. So what you're going to need then is you're going to need some kind of receptacle for the mixture that we're going to make, which is going to be some basing glue and some gravel and dirt. I'm using bottle caps simply because it's easier for me to throw these away than try and clean them out afterwards, because whatever you use is going to get kind of ruined, because you're going to make sort of like a spacker paste. You can actually get a spacker to use for this as well, which gives a pretty cool, neat texture, but I've got some sand which came in a pack of modelling stuff that I've used before. I've got my other box of basing material, which I might just sprinkle some of this stuff in there just for a bit more flavour. You're going to need something to apply this onto the model with. You can use a stick or a stirrer or an old paintbrush. Which reminds me, I need to get my old paintbrush out. Where is it? Is that the old bugger? Yeah, I've got this nasty paintbrush which I've just used for everything. You can use a little bit of water just in case, and some towel, a kitchen towel. And I use a Q-tip to apply this stuff to the models, just because they're quite cheap and easy to use. You can use the fluffy end, or if you get some, you can just cut these off at an angle to make like a point that you can use as sort of like a applicator. Oh shit, that went flying. Sorry. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this a little bit of a shake, and we're going to mix this in here with a little bit. We're going to keep dropping in the sand and stirring it until we get the right texture, and then we're going to just spacker this stuff just around the model, getting those creases and those horrible join lines filled in, and then just giving it a nice little coat around the place. And what we'll be looking for is, let's see if we can see this. Let's get the come on, focus. Focus, Jimmy. There we are. So you can see on this model here, on the trousers, on the metal, on the drum, around his boots, on his backpack, there is this kind of gritty texture, and that's what I'm going for with the sand. That's what we're going to go for. Just so when you paint it up, you've got that nice little bit there, so I could apply some rust onto that bits in the middle, and it just looks a bit gnarlier. Okay. Get some of that glue in there. And then I'm going to use my finger just to get a couple of drops of water in, because it does go quite quickly, and I want it to remain a little bit moist whilst I do these, because even if you're doing like 6, by the time you get to the end you'll see it gets a bit tough. And then I'm just going to start sprinkling in some of this really fine sand. You can see it's soaking that stuff up already. I might need some more of that, so I'll get that mix in a minute. And then I'm going to take a little pinch of this basing stuff. Well, that's a bit much actually. Shit. Let's get that little stone out. Get out. Good. And then we're just going to start mixing this stuff up. There we go. It's still a bit yogurty, so I'm going to add a bit more sand. There is no real right or wrong answer to this. You can't really go wrong with Turnip28. This is what I love about it so much, is that even if you screw it up, it will just still look. If it still looks horrible, that's the point. Okay, right, that's good. That's a nice amount of spacker. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to find those problem areas, like just behind his backpack there. And I'm just going to splodge this in there. Get it in there. There you go. I'm just going to drag that down a bit and just really fill in that gap. Christ almighty, what was that? Good. Going to get the other bit. Let's twist that in there. Nice. Ooh. That's all proper stringy. Get that in there like that. And then just going to brush little bits of this stuff off just around the model. Just to get some of that texture there. Ew. That is rank. I don't want to see too many smooth bits. Even on the rifle you want some crud. Get some on there. I wouldn't worry too much about the bottom of the model, because we're going to judge that up with some Vallejo muds anyway, but this is just mainly to get a bit of texture around this guy. Let's just wipe that off in there. That was rank. Yeah, that is proper nasty. Oh, there's bits hanging off. That's nasty. We're going to keep that. Good. So that's one done. So let's keep working. Give it a bit of stir. Get some of that round up on there. Let's get some more in. And then just a general wiping. General wipe down of grime across the model. Good. Nasty, love it. Bit of a mix of our poo paste. Oh, that's a lot. So yeah, twist and roll and wipe it off like like you're generally wiping something with a shitty stick. And there we go, those are my 4 boys ready to go. I've actually got loads left. I would like to do the others, but yeah, this is why I use bottle caps, because once I'm done, this is easy to throw it away because this stuff dries solid and nasty. So yeah, we've got these primed in black and ready to go, and usually there are 2 like schools of thought on this. You can then take a grey primer and then just do a light covering from a certain angle to emulate light coverage. I've done this previously and thought it was a bit too light, so I've seen other guys who will also employ the use of a dry brush and a white or off-white coloured dry brush the model to get that kind of horrible effect. So I've got some, you can use whatever you want really. You can use white, but I found that using off-white, so bone white or anything slightly off-white, will work a little bit better because the white itself is very, very bright. Because on a black model, even this is quite bright. Just going to do an X shape until I barely get any coming through, and then I'll take the model. Might use my little handy little holder, which I never thought I'd use, but it's actually all right. And then we're just going to take the brush and start picking up some bits. There we go. Again, you don't have to be too exact or neat with this stuff, but you do want. I found that you do. I found that you do actually want. Oh shit. Full coverage of the model. The reason being is I like to use contrast paints even for this, as I find that it fits into the recesses and dark spots quite nicely. Oh, fuck it. But I found that if you leave large parts of the model too black with the just the black primer on, it's super, super dark, and you'll actually have to go back and highlight little bits of it. So even though under the arms wouldn't be that bright, you still do want some of this dry brush on there, just to pick up those details. So I've noticed on camera this does look quite bright. I wouldn't worry though, it's not in person. Get some on the bristles, mash those around a bit. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, which you should do, is before you do this, you've got your bristles all done up. If you get a pair of scissors and just play hairdresser for a little bit and cut some of the bristles. I'm gonna probably do it on this thing to get the focus done. So I'm gonna do it on this guy a little bit, just because. Oh no, I don't have my scissors to hand. Because you want some disparity in the root growth in there, because this looks like a fir trim. So I'm just gonna go in and just gonna take some of these out. There we go. Let's get a few of those. Much better. Oop. There we go. So this is what we're looking for. See, because on things like the skin, if you don't have enough dry brush on it, when you come to paint the skin, it will look super dark. There we go. That's one. And when we come to use the contrast paints on it, you'll see what I mean about how gnarly this looks in this style. Very cool. Let's get a bit more paint. That's really good. I really like that. I'm trying to break his gun. Honestly, that's making me think I should just do the entire army in like an Eastern theme. Like, I have seen a guy use Ottoman models to do his Turnip28 army, but that is, I really like that. Let's get a little close up, Mr. DeVille. That's wicked. I love it. You know, I've always tended to like to leave stuff just like this, but maybe just chuck a sepia wash on it and call it a day, because that is really cool. Anyway, let's crack on. Oh, look at this guy back in focus. That's so good. I hate seriously, those Perry guys just make the best models. That is awesome. I love that. Wicked. So I will be using contrast paints for this one, which is the Citadel ones. I have seen that Army Painter have their own range now, and I'm dying to try it, but I kind of feel bad that I've got loads of paints already and shouldn't be, you know, spending more on paints when I've got some to spare. So I'm just going to get a bit of water in this little bit there. And then to make my burgundy boys purple, well, that purple burgundy colour, I'm just going to mix blue and red. Two drips in there. One, two. Get my lovely trusty old number 6 brush. I don't know shit about brushes. I got this on Amazon, I think. It's cheap as crap. I like it when I watch other people's paint channels and they name their brush like it's a brand of golf club. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, I just find it funny. Yeah, I'm painting this guys with my Nimbus 3000. It's got a lead tip in there and the perfect balance ratio. Just gonna mix up this colour here. Just gonna give this a good mix, get a nice little burgundy colour. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. That's what we go to school for. Okay, so trying to get any of his trousers because I want those to. Well, I actually don't know what colour those are going to be yet. I mean, he's also got a sash, which I haven't really decided what I want to do with. This is just so exciting. But yeah, I really love these Afghan models. They are so good. Good. Right, so now that's done. Let's start picking out some other bits. Right, I think we'll start. Actually, let's do the skin real quick and we'll get that out of the way. So, where are you? Got some nice bit of glimmering flesh. You can use whatever you want, really. For these, I've seen people use even like pale greens and greys for skin, because I think that works quite well. We should do some of the backpacks. I mean, they don't... it's not as if you can see too much of it, but I basically do like a leather brown and then like a darker brown on the straps, or vice versa. Either order is fine. Let's do the metals actually. So what I do for the metals is I will actually do a base coat on them of basilicanum grey, and then later on I've got some metallics which I'll kind of sort of dry brush over the top and dab it on, followed by some what's it called, like rust effect paint, but I'll show you that in a bit. But let's get these guys covered up anyway so they don't look so bright. Let's crack on. So we've got our greys down. Let's do a bit of snakebite leather on some stuff if I can find it. So snakebite leather. You be all go all for brown stuff. Oh yeah, I remember that my snakebite leather... Is it? It doesn't really want to stay up, so I have to like jam this little... Whoop. MacGyver. Right. So we're going to use this on anything that's supposed to be boot related, little pouches. Most of the backpack is going to be this stuff. I might do this one. That looks like a fur, and a Gorgrunter fur or something. But yeah, you get the gist of it. Anything that's kind of leathery related, seen leather, been near leather, smells like leather, gets the snakebite leather treatment. But you know the drill. You guys know what I'm talking about, don't you? Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're not as lazy as I am. I feel like I'm thinking a bit too much about this when I shouldn't, because it's all, like I said, it all blends in together in the end. Let's get it on and deal with it later. Oh, shit. I'm a lazy and slow painter. There are people out there who are much better than I am and quicker. You could probably do a whole bloody army in a weekend if you really put your mind to it. Put your sprues together. Oh, that backpack is a mess. I'm just going to cover it. There we go. Job done. Look at that. Backpack finished. Et voila, a painted backpack. I can't... Are those boots he's wearing? They're boots now. There we go, just slapping this on. Trying to get his pantaloons. Lovely. Expertly done. Never say never. Is this going to look stupid? No, it looks alright. Not like incredibly stupid anyway. Does feel like I'm applying lipstick to the model. Oh, are you even sashed up? Barely. Okay. Thank God for contrast paints. Mainly because I can use the other paints. I'm just terrible at knowing how watered down they are. I've got a wet palette as well for them, but I can never really get that right balance on the paint, whereas contrast paints just seem to be, most of them anyway, seem to be like pre-set up to be paint ready, you know? I'm loving these guys so much. I really, really love this look. Just like the I don't know what they call it, the caftan I think they used to wear. That's amazing. Cycle brown. Wildwood. This stuff is like a super dark wood. I like to use it for the rifles. I might use it for that guy's boot just because I missed him off. Rifles, muskets, whatever you want to call them. Whatever floats your boat. So I've got, and you can find these on Amazon. These are game color washes. Don't even know which company they come from, but these are from Amazon. Really super cheap, and you get everything you could want: umber, red, blue, flesh wash, black, which I've used a lot of, pale grey, etc., etc. And we're just going to use a sepia tone one. And yeah, this is quite cheap on Amazon or wherever the hell you want to get these from. But I thought for what they are, they're really good. They do have a matte finish. They're not too glossy. They are quite watery. Give that a good shake. Oh, actually, what I want is a bit of green as well for those root veg. So what we'll do first is we'll do the umber. Sorry, the sepia tone kind of wash. I'm going to get my brush nice and wet. Make sure that's all nice and wet. Just going to brush this over. I'm just going to pull this over some of those lighter areas just to blend that in with a bit of a dark sepia tone. And it looks quite rank at the minute, but when it dries it will tie that in together. And I'll get this over some of the other bits to just blend those unpainted edges in. You really don't have to be shy with this stuff, thankfully, because it is a matte finish and it will go nice and matte. then you want to just get some of this stuff pulled, and I'm just going to drag it through the bristles of the root. And it will slowly, you'll get like blobs in it, but that's kind of what you want. And give the root a kind of browny texture. We'll let that dry. When we come back, we'll do a little bit of green on it as well to get some colour variation with it. But yeah, nice. Let's get some in there. You don't need to cover the whole model in it, but you don't have to be shy with it either. Get some blobs right in the root. If you do have a particularly nice brush, maybe use a different one for doing this part, just because it can get quite rough with the bristles. So what I'm doing is I'm just literally blobbing it at the root of the bristles and then dragging it outwards. There we go. Let that take some colour. Good. Alright, so we let that dry for a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to start working on these metals. So I've got an old #2 brush, and I'm going to use this to sort of do like a dry brushing dab onto the parts that should be metal. And for that, I'm going to be using a gunmetal colour. Doesn't really matter which one you use, as long as it's not super shiny, because we do have some things like the, is it Ironbreaker? Yeah, this stuff is like platinum silver. Look at that. So we won't be using that for our Turnip28 models. We're using just anything that is like a shiny metal. Yeah, this is still quite light, but we'll still be dressing up a little bit. Let's get some of that in there. Let's get some water on it. Just a little drop in there to keep it a bit moist. Now we use this brush to just mix that up a little bit. I'm going to take most of this stuff off on a towel, just like you would with a dry brush, just small. And then we're going to take the model. I'm just going to dab with it in places. Just be nice and careful with it, because you don't want this stuff to look that good of metal. I'm just going to dab it in. There we go. There we go. I'm going to try and pick up these little parts of the rifle that are supposed to be metal. I'm going to try and get There we go. This will look quite shiny just because there's a quite strong light behind it, but we're going to put some rust effect on this to bring it down a bit. And it looks fine by eye, but the light behind me is very bright, so it's going to look quite bright on camera. We'll bring that down a bit with some rust effect in a moment. So again, a bit more paint. Right, we're going to get some of that off on the brush. Oh, sorry, on the brush, on the towel. Very light dabs here and there. Almost like a, you know, almost like you're doing a dry brush technique on this stuff. Or say almost like you are. Okay, a little bit on the breastplate. Just a little bit of colour underneath. Don't forget the other side of their beaks. There we go. Yeah, I think this guy is actually my favourite. That is that's such a good look. I really should be using a wet palette for this, just because I can save this for the other old guard when I get to them as well, but for the purposes of the video. Oh, sorry about that. That's rank. I love it. I absolutely love it. Right, so now then, what I have, or what I'll be adding to the metal to dull that down a bit in certain places, is we can use a wash. Bring it down a bit. Actually, we could. No, because that looks alright on. What we'll do is we've got some Vallejo Environment Acrylic, which is a rust of weathering effect. What this is just a really nasty brown wash with some more pigments in it. Let's show what this looks like. Look at that. So you can imagine what that looks like just caked on something. Nice. So I'm just giving that a bit of a shake. And I'm just going to use my little destroyed #2 brush. I'm just going to take some of this stuff and I'm just going to dab this the same way I did with the metals in the first place. I'm going to start dabbing this in places and it will start to brown. It's going to be quite hard to see with this crappy camera, but it will start to blend in and it will rust parts of the metal. It's quite hard to see this actually, unfortunately. When I take my glam shots of the models though, you see what this browning does to the metal. It's quite nice because it looks like yeah, you can almost see that coming through there. Maybe I have to turn the light down. Right? There you go. So that's what that looks like. There we go. And then these boys will be ready for basing, which I will do in another video.